Hello, everybody. It's Angelique coming to you live from the Shoe Chick Art Studio in fabulous Las Vegas. Woo woo! Okay, so what are we doing today? Look at this cool painting. This is a great painting for like couples night, right? For like date night or a really cool paint party, right? For those of you who do not know me, again, my name is Angelique, and I specialize in virtual paint and sit parties and also live paint parties if you're in Las Vegas. And I am the shoe chick because when you paint with me, kids in Africa get shoes. If you want to know more about that, you know what you do? You go to theshoechickstore.com and buy stuff, paint kits, email me, whatever. Okay? So this is embrace number one. There's embrace number two, and there is embrace number one. So isn't this a sexy painting? I love it, love it, love it. Okay, so I want you to get all your tools together. And you guys know how we do this. I'm going to take you about 90% through the painting, and then the rest is left up to you. I ship kits, or you can pick kits up locally in Las Vegas. So hit me up if you're interested, okay? You're going to take your paint kit that was shipped to you, and you're going to take all the lids and all the tape and all that stuff off. You get a water kit in your paint kit, a water cup in your paint kit. You're going to fill that halfway with water. And there's even a disposable apron. So you're going to open that apron up. It's in that little baggie of yours. You might have to put a little water on your fingertips, and you're going to put it over your head. Okay? So, let's get to it. You can see that ring light in my glasses. That's why I don't like to wear glasses, but my eyes are bothering me today, so I'm wearing glasses, okay? So in your paint kit, you have a reference photo. I don't have one here to show you, but you do have a reference photo. And that's for all the OCD people, but as I always say, it's not about completing the painting exactly like mine. Art is an expression of who you are in the moment, so paint it any way you want, okay? This is just a guide. I'm not even going to paint it the same. I'm not even going to try to paint it the same. I'm in front of you. I'm on video. I'm painting sideways, so I can't even get it the same, but I can show you the steps, okay? So that's what we're going to do. Bam! All my canvases, most of my canvases are pre-traced for you because I want to take the stress out of painting. I want it to be about the experience, okay? So the first thing that we're going to do is going to find our sponge brush that looks like this. We're going to dunk it in our water, and then we're going to apply a light coat of water on our canvas. The canvas is, these trace lines are a little bit more than just pencil, so you don't have to be too careful with washing them away. You're not going to wash them away. And even the face is actually done in marker because I really didn't want you to stress about the face. So I got a light coat of water there. I want it to dry a little bit. We do that to prime the canvas so it's ready to accept paint, so that first coat of paint just doesn't get sucked in there, right? If you put too much water on there, you could take like the blue paper towel, the highly absorbent blue paper towel, and kind of dab it off a little bit. Okay, so the next step that we're going to do, we're going to paint the background first, which is red, right? And then what we're going to do is we're going to paint the people, all right? So, and then we're going to do all the details. So we do the detail work last, okay? So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take that sponge brush, squeeze the water out of it if you can. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get closest to these figures as I possibly can. Even if it means, hopefully it's on top of the trace lines, okay? If you can't get right on top of the trace lines, that's fine. We're going to use another brush to kind of get closer in there, okay? So I'm going right on top of the trace lines, as close as I can get. There's also some red in the middle here that's going to be a little more difficult with the sponge brush. But I'm just going to put a little red there so I know that that's where I have to put the red, okay? And then I'm going to paint the entire background in red. Okay? And I think I'm around his crown too. So again, I'm getting as close as I can. I would like to be on top of those trace lines, but if you can't get on top of the trace lines, it's okay. In the middle there, it's black right here. And then around her boob is also black, so don't worry about that. All right, so play a little music. Gonna paint in the red background. do up there because I want to use my other brush. I'm going to rest this brush. I'm going to rest this brush in my tray. Not in the water. It's a sponge. It'll suck up all the water, right? I'm going to take this flat tip brush. I'm going to go right. I'm not even going to wet it. I'm just going to go right into my red paint. And I'm going to carefully fill in the crown. And I know what you're thinking. Well, you might be thinking, dang, she's going way too fast. And you know what? If I am, that's the beauty of video, man. Put me on pause. Right? Don't trip. Put me on pause. Get caught up. I think the best way, because I watch some tutorials too. I watch videos too. I think the best way is to watch the video all the way through and then go through and then paint. But you know, totally up to you. So I'm getting her booty just right. And I'm going along and filling those gaps. So right here, you might have to look at your reference photo so you don't get confused on what's going on. Where's the red at? And it is all the way up there. And like I said, take a look at your reference photo so you don't get confused. Right? All right, we good? All right, that's step number one. Then what I'm going to do, we're pretty much done with that, with the sponge brush. But as you can see in that background, there's a little bit of black going on, right? To add a little interest to the background. And you might even see that it's a little transparent. It's not as opaque, meaning there's light or canvas coming through there. So what I want to do is, I'm going to add another coat of red on there. And you want to kind of wait for it to dry, because these are acrylic paints we're painting with. They look better and bolder as you build them up, but not when you clump it on, you know? You got to let it dry and apply another coat. So it was pretty dry. So you can see, like, when you apply, I'm not going to do the whole canvas. I just want you to see when you apply that second coat, how it gets a little bolder and better. And then I'm going to put a little tiny bit of black paint, a tiny bit of black paint in my tray here. And I am going to take a little bit of black, just a tiny bit. I'm taking this a tiny bit on this brush. I'm taking it, I don't want that much. I'm wiping that off on my tray. That's how little that I want of this black paint. And then I'm just going to add it to my canvas. And if you put too much, it's okay. Just add a little bit of water to your brush and kind of blend it in. You can even add a little bit of red paint and blend it in a little bit more. Or add a little bit more. Like I'm going to add a little bit more. I'm using the tip of my sponge brush. It's kind of... Okay, let's say yours look like that, and you don't want it to look like that. It's too stripy. You're going to put some red paint in your tray, and you're going to go right on top of those lines, and you're going to smooth them out or blend them in. Do your thing. All right, till you get it how you want it. And you would do the same thing on the other side. Of course. I wasn't going to do other side because I was just trying to save time, but I'm going to do it anyway. You could see that side was even more dry, so when you apply that second coat, it becomes more opaque. All right? Now, it takes a little bit of work. I'm taking the light off it a little bit so you can see I'd work on this a little bit. A little bit of water, a little bit of water, a little bit of red paint, long vertical brush strokes. Maybe you don't like the black in there. Maybe you just want it to be a solid red. Maybe you got a different color and scheme in mind. Okay? So anyway, that gives you a little bit. Let me try to turn my light down a little bit because I think it is kind of there. Ooh, I think that's better. Okay. So next step. Next step, we're going to mix ourselves some gray paint. So whenever you're resting these brushes, you want to rest them in the water because they are acrylic paints and they dry pretty quickly. So I'm going to swish my brush around in the water to change colors. And then I'm going to wipe it off on my blue paper towel. And then I'm going to mix some gray paint in my tray. And the way that you're going to do that is you're going to put the white in your tray first. And if it's super thick, you can use the back of your paintbrush, or if you have a little popsicle stick, you can use that. Sometimes I put those in the kit, sometimes I don't. So if you have one, use it. If you don't, use the back of your brush or use the back of the sponge brush. I'm going to take a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of black paint and I'm going to mix it in with my white until I get the degree of gray that I want. Which that's pretty good. You can always alter it by mixing directly on the canvas. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to outline everything that's gray. And as I'm looking at my reference photo, I'm thinking and painting at the same time. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch it up a little bit. I'm going to go into my black paint because I want to try to think of the easiest way for you. I'm going to outline in black first. So if you did it in gray, that's okay. And I'm going to soften up the lines later. So what I'm doing is I'm outlining her with black. I switched it up on you. I didn't even wash my paintbrush off. I just went into the black. That's the beauty of being live. Because you know what? I don't edit. It is what it is. So, I think people appreciate that actually. So I'm outlining in black, which we rarely do because we don't want things to look like a coloring book. But by the time we apply the the gray, and do some outlining, it's going to work out just fine. So even outlining your hair, outlining his face. And then we're going to paint in the gray. So I outlined everything. Make sure you get the curve of the booty right. If the curve of the booty ain't right, it's not gonna look good. You don't want it to be too big. If you follow the trace lines, you should be okay. Okay. So I've outlined them pretty darn good there. I think I missed his back there. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna paint them in gray. All right. So a little nondescript music so my video doesn't get tagged. Going into my gray, I'm going to wash out my brush because I don't want it to be too dark, that gray. Wipe it off on my paper towel. Painting my figures in gray. If the paint gets a little sticky, add a little bit of water in it to get it to flow right for you. Sorry about that little dance break. I was just feeling the music for a minute. I love painting. just takes your mind away from what's going on in the world. You can even paint over the the face because it's marker and it'll come through there. We can work on those details later. Her lips are even gray. Okay, I think I'm all done with her. Moving on to the king. I missed outlining her boob there. I'm just going to go back into my black paint. I'm not even going to wash my brush out. Just notice I didn't get her boob there. And I didn't get her hand really outlined well. Alright? There are no mistakes. Bob Ross said happy little accidents, right? You can always fix them. Especially with acrylic paint, you can always fix it. Alright, continue to paint in the king here. And be careful, like, take a look at your reference photo because you might get a little confused as to what's supposed to be black and what's supposed to be gray. Because right underneath her boob here, this is supposed to be black. So I'm going to have to go back in there. I painted mine gray. But it's no big deal because black, like, overtakes everything, right? So I can paint right on top of it. As you see, I'm adding a little bit of water, smoothing everything out. I don't want any gaps of white. Unless you like that, you know. You might like the gaps of white coming through. And then I'm getting his leg done in here with the gray paint. You might have to mix more gray paint. But it's not really that important that it's all the same level of gray, right? Because the contouring... because we're going to add a different level of gray in there to kind of highlight the curves, right? Now, this is a lot of area we're covering. If you're going to paint with me a lot, I would recommend investing in some really good paint brushes. These brushes that we use in the kits are meant to be disposable, so you're going to get rid of them after you paint. Okay, so that middle part in the underneath her boob and the other part is black. So I'm switching out my paintbrush. I'm going into my black paint, and then I'm going to paint this area in black. And then I'm also going to paint that area under her boobs in black. I really want to pay attention to the curve of his arm. And again, you can add a little bit of water if you want, because it's not imperative that it's solid black, because it's not like a silhouette. Like when we do silhouettes, I want to make sure that it's super opaque, right? So just going in here. Again, I'm going pretty fast. My objective, of course, is to give you the lay of the land. And then you complete the painting on your own. And you do all the fine little details. It usually takes, I'd say, a good 4 hours when you're working on a painting to make it really nice. And a paint part is usually 4 hours. A paint part is usually only 2 hours. So again, look at your reference photo if you're confused, because I'm confusing myself, but I'm looking at the painting itself. And I don't have a reference photo with me, because I forgot to print one out, and that's okay, because I have the painting. Alright, so, look at that. It's coming together, right? Now I see some gaps in the paint right here, like the red, so I'm swishing out my paintbrush, wiping it off. I'm going to go into my red, because I want to fill that gap right there. I don't want any white space right there. Alright, so again, we're just getting all the basics down, and then we're going to work on the details, okay? So I am just making sure that I have everything gray that I want to be gray, okay? The next step I'm going to do is I'm going to fill in her hair and fill in his beard.
hoping that you have a little Q-tip in your kit. If you don't, it's okay. I'm sure you have one at home. Or you can use the corner of your paintbrush. But I'm not going to worry about the texture in her hair yet. I'm just going to fill it in black. And I'm going to fill his beard in black. And then I'm going to work on the texture later. And then I'm going to take a look at the detail work. So first just painting in the hair, okay? I'm not worried about it being perfect because we got a lot of texture to do. Now, if you want to make them brown or change the colors of their skin, you can. I kind of like the basic use of just 4 colors in the color palette. Oh man, look at that. I went into red by mistake. Switching my brush around. Gonna wipe off that red. And then just go right over it with black. See, I even show you how to fix mistakes. There are no mistakes. Your happy little accidents. Alright. Why does it look like you have a beard? Did I put some black there by mistake? Or that's just like an outline? I'm going to fix that because I don't like the way that looks. That lady looked like she had a goatee going on. Alright. Okay, where was I? The king's beard. I love using the Q-tip for the texture part. If you look close at your reference photo, you can see a little texture around his beard. Okay, but first we're just getting the color down, right? This is how you do the texture. Now you can take your paintbrush, if I didn't put a Q-tip in there, and you're just going to kind of dab around the edges to create some texture in her hair. We don't want it to be all smooth around her hair. I always like to have a few flyaways. If you see any of my paintings, I always have like just a few random, we'll call them curls. Isn't that fun? Now, if you want to see a different effect, remember, rest your paintbrush in the water. Take your Q-tip and not just on the outer edges. I don't want any white either. Make sure you cover all the white. But also inside, because when it dries, you'll be able to see a little bit of the texture effect in there, okay? So, little texture, a few flyaways. You don't have to follow my pattern. You might even want to change your hairdo. I don't know. Along the edge of the beard, there's even a little texture. Just very little, though. I don't know if you want to do it with this Q-tip or do it with a different brush, but there's very little texture around his beard. But there is some texture. Take a look at your reference photo a little bit. Look at it. Look at how it's coming together. And again, that light's a little bright. You could see more gray if I turn the light away a little bit. Okay. Very, very rough. We're just putting the first coat down. Details come later. Maybe another coat. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to work with the yellow. I'm swishing my brush around in the water, wiping it off really good on that paper towel because we have black in there and I don't want the yellow to come through. I don't want the black to come through on the yellow. And then I am painting in his crown. Now, if you're, yeah, hopefully that red is dry. Mine's kind of dragging in there, and I don't like that, but I can fix that later with another coat. But what we're going to do is we're going to do that crown, and I'm going to show you how to change the shape and get it like how you really want it in a second here. And if you're done, now you might want to put another coat of gray on. I don't know how you're feeling about your gray. I'm going to recommend that you wait actually to do her arm band there. And just make sure the gray on her arm is how you want it. All right, how about that? And let me turn this light down a little bit more. Okay, so I'm working with this yellow. And so once you're working with the color, you kind of want to use it everywhere. Now her arm bracelet is just really two straight lines. So I'm just going to take my yellow. If you're not comfortable doing this, you could draw it in with a piece of chalk first. But it's really just two straight lines, right? And then the bottom one is kind of like a zigzag coming out. Now you can do it with this brush or you could do it with the detail brush. Totally up to you. It's kind of like going straight and then down and then straight and then up. So really take a look at your reference photo so you can get the detail on the little snake arm bracelet there, okay? And again, there's lots of detail work that needs to be done. I think I'll take you about 90% through, but there's a couple other things I want to show you. You have another brush in your kit. It's the detail brush. And with that detail brush, you're going to do the details. Like on the face, I haven't even put it in any water. I just went into the black paint. And then what I'm going to do, you can see the details on the face because it was done with a marker. So you can work out all the detail work, even with her band, which I'd recommend wait until it gets dry. But that's how you do all these tiny details, okay? Even his ear needs a little work. His crown, once you've put enough, if you're going to apply another coat, don't do this yet. But if you're happy with it, that's how you can get the shape of the crown in place. Maybe add a little bit more red around the edges there. I don't like those gaps of white paint in there. All right, look, embrace number 1. Pretty cool, right? Not finished at all. Lots of detail work. I would recommend using this brush, swishing it out in your water cup, wiping it off in your paper towel, and really looking at each part of their bodies to see where you need to put more accent of black. So right here, for example, I'm looking at the reference photo, and we have a little bit of hard line black coming out here, and then quite a bit out here. And then we have quite a bit here, shaping your butt a little bit. And then another level of gray. So you might want to add a little bit of black to the gray that you have in your tray. And add another level of gray. And when you mix that gray, since you have it, why not use it just a few more places? In her boob area right here. All right, so you see how the painting starts coming to life a little bit? A lot of it. And since I have, like I said, that other level of gray there, maybe work on his arm a little bit, add a little bit of another level of gray there. There's another level on his booty. And then there's some black. So work on one section at a time. Like if you're working on her butt, right here, work on that section. If you're working on her, go to her arm, add a little bit more black here, a little bit black here, defining her arm. A little bit more definition in where her boob area. Work on that. So take each section at a time and work on it, okay? I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. This is a series that I'm doing that's a little bit adult-ish. Embrace number 1, that's this one. Embrace number 2 is the same color palette. And I think I'm going to keep going with this series. I think it's pretty fun. I think it's a great date night. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you put your Luther on, or your Kim, or your, whatever. I might be dating myself a little bit. Whatever it is that you like to listen to, get your glass of wine. I could see this being a fabulous night. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you all are being safe. I hope I see you in Las Vegas one day. Or book me for a private party anywhere. I travel. I'm vaccinated. I'm cool with it. So I love you guys. I appreciate you. Subscribe if you like this one. Check out my many, many more paint kits and tutorials. Be blessed. Be safe. Take care. Bye-bye.